Hey, so there's been some complaints about Dexxers, some of which are valid, some aren't quite as valid. And to help clear things up, Dexxers basically what's good and bad about them. The bad part is they take a lot of time to set up. So you gotta get relatively good gear, equipped. That's gonna cost you more up front for comparison to a summoner where they can just run in naked with regs, and be able to farm some of the hardest content. But the plus side of summoners is that once you put in the work for it, in particular, into the masteries. This character has poisoning on it, so obviously I did poison mastery, and then he's almost done with holy mastery now, and I put parry onto him instead of alchemy because I wanted to test the holy with parry combination. If you put in time, macroing and hunting and doing all that for the masteries, they become pretty viable pretty quickly. So the most annoying part for me is keeping the potions stocked up, because you do kind of need potions when you're out farming around, even with parry and all that. Well, I guess you could get by with NPC potions, but it kind of feels like a waste. The second one is these guys are real important for PVM here. So you pop a PVM potion. It's already still under effect, so I'll just go ahead and go in. I do like to keep my my Warfork poisoned, because I have poisoning on this character, and with poison you can kind of waste one of their spell cycles effectively, because they'll be trying to cure instead of nuking you, for example. I find it to be useful, but it's absolutely not necessary. It just happens that this character is poison theme based. I have another Dexxer that does just fine on his own as well without it. So yeah, this guy's an elite. He's not very hard. I mean, it's not one of the more challenging ones anyways, but going down through here, I'm just going to skip the Dread Spiders and go down to the Ancient Lich room. It's mostly just keeping the magic resist pot effect going. So you can make these, it's 5 Eye of Newt each one, and isn't too hard to get. And I will grant you that holy spec with parry is particularly good for PVM of this nature. Yeah, flame strikes are effectively nothing. I could drink a cure potion there, but why bother? So yeah, like I was gonna say on the strengths, if you're willing to put in the time, they do farm quite a bit quicker. They do more damage than summoners do, so they're able to clear through stuff pretty fast, and you'll be able to pop through and get your beetle and your backpack filled up pretty quickly. You definitely want pots. You definitely want magic resist potions when you're out farming, and ideally have a beetle as well. Because if you don't have a beetle, by the time you get down to the bottom of the dungeon, you're already ready to go back. I'm doing Ancient Lich next. See, you don't have to off-screen too much, especially on these guys, and then, the one argument you can make is that, well, you're using a poisoned, weapon, or you're poisoning on the fly. It's true. But my other Dexter doesn't have poisoning, doesn't use poison weapons, and he's able to do this just fine as well. So it was funny because before I started recording this, I didn't realize I had a I had left a recording on overnight last night, and so I had a 200 gigabyte video file, and I recorded this already once, and I was over there doing like 2 elites at one time. I'll go through before the end of this video, but I was doing 2 elites and almost got murked, but ended up, you know, doing alright. Yeah, I went to go upload that video to YouTube, and then found that the hard drive was full. But yeah, you can clear through stuff pretty quickly. We got 1 poison charge left. I'm gonna go try those 2 elites again and see what happens. I mean, you can play it smart and just pull 1 at a time, right? Like, that's the smart thing to do, but for just proof that it's not quite as bad as people are making it out to be, I'm gonna try doing both of them at once. You also want to keep in mind that like higher dexterity means faster band-aid time on yourself, and that's pretty important for you know, defense against like a lot of these spells and all that. It's more important than having high AR, in my opinion. Well, this one's a Paragon, so maybe I'll just fight him. Oh shit, I'm standing in fire. Yeah, so it's not incredibly difficult. So it's pretty tanky, but I guess in closing, like, there's certain mobs that you definitely can't fight, like Medusa with her AoE poison, Greater Dragons having, you know, the 45 damage, you know, bypasses everything mechanic, you know, for Fire Breath, and then that combined with, like, a good Explo and, you know, a melee hit that happens to go through your shield. It's enough to, you know, almost one tap you if you don't like chug a pot like fairly quickly, but it's not that bad. It's definitely playable. There's upsides and downsides to it. Upside is mainly that it kills stuff a little bit quicker than, you know, Summoner and Tamer and stuff, so you can fill up your gold with, you know, in a pretty undead fashion pretty quickly. Undead, brain dead. Alright, so we'll try these 2 in closing. I have to back up from that. It's a little bit too much. I think this will be the last mob I do on this video, but yeah. Before I killed both these guys together at one time, and it was a little bit dicey, but it wasn't too bad. And if anyone's curious, like what relics and whatnot, I have no relics on this character. Relics are incredibly overpriced at the moment. People want, like the 2% attack speed. I think is like going, or 2.5% attack speed is going for like $1 mil. That's just dumb. You have to do 2 years worth of daily quests to unlock your entire all your relic slots, and there's just not enough Dexxers to keep that like sustainable. You can pay 1 mil and have that extra 0.5% damage or 1% damage increase, and wait a month and a half and you'll be swimming in them and pick one up for like 50, 75, 100k, and those price ranges. I'd rather just wait for that 0.5% damage increase.